Aegislash is upon us. The question is when. And Pokemon Duel rounds out the top 3 in terms of revenue in the Pokemon mobile department. What's good? It's your boy Rico. Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Duel. And in today's episode, I do have 2 matches that I do want to show you. One is featuring another use of Mega Steelix offensively, because we know it's a good goalie. And then the second match is I want to kind of talk about when you should use the plate Max Revive. Now let's talk about Aegislash. When the leaks were coming out before we got this new banner, there was talk about Aegislash, and we got this notice, and it shows get ready for Aegislash. I was so excited. I thought Aegislash was going to be available for us when the banner came. Turns out he's not. So let's take a look at the text that we got for the spring events happening. Get ready for Aegislash Shield, Aegislash Blade, Dull Blade, and Honedge are scheduled to appear during April through Player Pass. Well, April's got about 2 weeks left, and through Player Pass, we've seen the rewards for Player Pass. There is no Aegislash there, so I'm kind of interested on how they're going to incorporate this. It's been 9 days. 9 days since we've had the banner, and we have not had any event. We've had these spring events that show like here's the weekends where you can get those 1 boosters, but then also we get this stuff, the rare metal, the ingot, the cube. So on the 24th, in this next coming week, we're going to be getting the rare metal, ingot, and cube, and then it's going to end with 150 carbonate and 150 AI tickets. But who cares about AI tickets, right? So I'm kind of concerned. I'm like, what are we going to be getting? Are we going to be getting a gym? Are we going to be getting a team match event? Are we going to be getting a tournament? Are we going to be getting a Queen's Cup? I have no idea. We haven't really had anything. I mean, we had the Bidoof Queen's Cup, but I'm kind of concerned of what's going on, and I thought we had a notice talking about why we don't have gyms right now, because they don't know what to put in as a reward because of how good the Player Pass is. So I just don't know what's going to happen. Usually when banners come out, we have a gym. We have something to look forward to. Well, now we just have the Player Pass, which is nice. Everybody gets to play with the figures, but where's my gym, man? I really just want the gym, but since April only has about 2 weeks, I'm going to speculate we're probably going to be getting some sort of event, I'm going to say at the beginning of next week, so Monday, and hopefully it's the Aegislash. So you know what we do on this channel. When we get leaks, when we get things on new figures, I like to speculate on the wheels. So we're going to jump in, and we're going to talk about my creations for Honedge, Doughblade, and Aegislash, and then I have 2 matches to show you. But first, let's jump into what I was talking about earlier is Pokemon Duel. So this is actually an article. I found this article yesterday. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I posted it and read it. This was posted on January 21st, and it's basically talking about Pokemon Quest. So this is, I believe, when Pokemon Quest came out. But if you take a look, it says, to put this into perspective, Pokemon Quest downloads make it the 5th most installed mobile game in the franchise behind Magikarp Jump, Shuffle. Pokemon Duel sitting at number 2 in terms of downloads. We're almost at 4. We are at 40 million. I think in March we were at 40 million. And Pokemon Go 540 million. But in terms of revenue, Pokemon Quest ranks number 4 among other mobile titles in the series. This places it ahead of Jump, behind Pokemon Duel with 21.6 million. Pokemon Shuffle at 21.8 million. And Pokemon Go at 2.27 billion. Pokemon Duel, we're probably ahead of Pokemon Shuffle now. I mean, we were only below by like, what, 2.2? So I don't know where Pokemon Duel is now, but just imagine where Pokemon Duel would be if it was a global release. It would be we would definitely be in that number 2 spot. So it's a shame that it's not a global release. And with 21.6 million, I don't know, like, you would think they would finish the story or have a global launch with that much success. I don't know how it is for a businessman, but 21 million seems good to me. All right, so aside from that, let's jump into the figures. We'll talk about first Honedge. Now, Honedge is a steel and a ghost type Pokemon, and it does have the no guard ability. So if you guys don't know what no guard is, let's just take a look at this. It says ensures the Pokemon and its foes attack land. So because of this ability, let's say Did this actually work in the main series? Those of you guys who played this main series, well, I guess No Guard would not necessarily work for like Fisher, like attacks that have really low percentages because it is a ghost still, so it doesn't get Fisher. But what attacks does it primarily use like with this ability? But what I wanted to do is I didn't want to give Honage the No Guard ability. I actually gave the Doughblade the Honage, or the Doughblade the No Guard ability. So we did something a little different from Honage, and this is what I wanted to base it off of. If you look at the entry on Y states, if anyone dares to grab its hilt, now the hilt is like the handle of the sword, it wraps a blue cloth around that person's arm and drains that person's life drains that person's life energy completely. So let's take a look at the attacks. Really high defense, high attack, and it gets Iron Head, Shadow Sneak, and Sacred Sword. That's kind of what I base my Honage off. So this is what my Honage is going to look like. My Honage is going to be a 2 MP. It is going to be an uncommon. They did specifically say that in Pokemon Duel. Still Ghost. Here's the attacks. We're going to give it Sacred Sword and then Shadow Sneak, Shadow Sneak. It's basically the same will as it is the same will as Kartana. So this is my Honage is going to be, but I gave it the Guard of the Hilt ability. Now this is what it's going to do. This Pokemon can pass through other Pokemon when it MP moves because it's Ghost. In this Pokemon's first battle, if it does not get knocked out by the battle opponent, this Pokemon switches places with its battle opponent. The reason being, I wanted this thing to be semi-easy to evolve. So how I have this set up is basically how you would set up a Virizion. You would have a Virizion on your entry point, a Mon above it, and then the opponent has a Mon above their entry point. You move through your Mon, attack into that Mon, and let's say it's a Mon that's like super heavy purple or heavy blue, and Honage survives, doesn't get KO'd, it would automatically switch spaces with it. I'm sorry. It would automatically switch. Aries made some weird noises. That was kind of weird. I've never heard him make that noise before. But I don't know. So it would switch spaces, and then it would evolve. So this is what I want to do for Honage. Let me know what you guys think about Honage. Now let's jump into Doughblade. Doughblade. Now Doughblade does get the No Guard ability. So this is what we're going to do for Doughblade. We're going to give the No Guard ability, and let's take a look at the attacks. High defense, high attack, Shadow Sneak, but it also gets the Swords Dance. So here's my Doughblade. We're going to have the wheel pretty much like, what's his name? Fracture. So we're going to give it the Iron Head 90 and Shadow Sneak 70 plus the Swords Dance. So it's going to be pretty easy to evolve. If it does hit the Swords Dance, Iron Head's going to be hit for 180, and the Shadow Sneak is going to be hitting for 140. As a rare, yes, I mean, Fracture's pretty good for a rare. Anyways, I don't think this is any worse. But the ability we're going to give it is the No Guard ability. This Pokemon can pass through other Pokemon when it MP moves, Ghost. Instead of an MP move, this Pokemon may attach a No Guard marker to any Pokemon. On that Pokemon's next battle, their miss or misses become the largest segmented piece of their will. So let me break this down. Let's take the number one miss in the game, number one red attacker in the game, the Solgaleo. Solgaleo has 2 misses. The biggest segmented piece on its will, I mean, after you level it up and calmed it, what it should be is the Sunstrike Steel. So what it's going to do is if I put the marker on my Solgaleo, the next battle, not the next turn, the next battle, it does not have a miss, and the whole entire, well, not say the whole entire will, the majority of the will is going to be Sunstrike Steel. So that's going to be my Doughblade. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about that. Now let's look at the Aegislash, where I cannot wait for the Aegislash hype. I was asking you this earlier. What are you going to do when this thing comes out? What are you going to replace in your deck? And I mean, rightfully so. He said it depends on how good it's going to be. So Aegislash it's a pretty interesting mod. It's got 2 forms. It's got the blade form and it's got the shield form. And the way it changes its forms, it's based on the attack it uses. If it uses an attack, it goes into blade form. If it uses King Shield, which is an attack, it goes into the shield form. So let's just check out the ability real quick. The Pokemon changes form depending on on how it battles. Exactly. That's kind of what we just talked about. So let's take a look at the attacks. Okay, so in shield form, the defense is crazy high, but in blade form, the attack is crazy high. So the kind of, it kind of makes sense just because of how it is. Now let's take a look at the attacks. Shadows, basically the same things. They all kind of share the same attacks, but he does get the King's Shield. Now, what does King's Shield actually do? Well, let's take a look at King's Shield. King's Shield protects the user from any moves except status moves for that turn. Additionally, if King's Shield blocks an attack that would make contact with the user, the attacker's attack drops by 2 stages. So here's what we did for our Aegislash. And the first one's going to be Aegislash Shield form, and its will is going to be a copy off of the stack attacker. So first, let's just take a look at the ability. Stance change, or shield stance change, and it's also one MP, forgot about that. At the start of your turn, instead of an MP move, this Pokemon may move through an adjacent Pokemon to a point 1 to 2 steps away from that Pokemon. So yes, it shares the same ability as the Giratina and as the Mega Steelix. If this Pokemon lands an attack with damage value, it may change into Blade form. So if it lands Shadow Sneak, if it lands Shadow Ball, it changes into Shield. Well, it has the ability to change into Blade form. I guess at the end of that turn. So here we're gonna do for King Shield. On the opponent's next turn, their attack damage is halved. Shadow Ball, I don't know if we have Shadow Ball in Pokemon Duel. I don't think we do, but Shadow Ball, what it does, I think it has a 20% chance to lower defense and special defense. Let me just double check that. Actually, where is Shadow Ball? Shadow Ball deals damage and has 20% chance of lowering the target's special defense. Oh, special defense by 1 stage. Okay, so what I decided to do here was an opposing Pokemon adjacent to the battle opponent spins. If they spin a purple attack, they're -1 MP. So let me know what you guys think about my Aegislash Shield form, and then we'll move on to the Aegislash Blade form. Here we go. Will is going to be identical to the EX Absol, and here's its ability. The Blade stance change. This Pokemon can pass through other Pokemon when it MP moves. If this Pokemon lands King Shield, it may change into Shield form. So we're going to give it the Sacred Sword 150 Swords Dance, which is going to make this thing hit for 300. Yes, I know it's kind of, well, I wouldn't even say it's necessarily OP, because, I mean, this thing does get beat. It can get beat by purples. It can get beat by, Moonguy's Beam. What's it called? The Cyclone Kick. And I had a little a dilemma making this will, and the Sacred Sword being such high damage, 150 damage. Everything got a buff and they hit for 150. And what I don't like about the power creep is everything out damages Lunala. So, I mean, I felt like I had to give it 150 just to be competitive. I thought about making it like 130, 120, because if it does hit King Shield, the battle opponent's attack is going to be halved, but only on the next turn. But I don't know. I feel like 150 was kind of just where we're at in terms of power creep. So let me know how you guys feel about the Aegislash Blade form and all the other figures that we have created. Now let's jump into today's actual video. I don't know why I said actual video. That was part of the actual video. But like I said, I do have 2 matches I do want to show you guys. But we do have some boosters that we've been sitting on. So let's pop these boosters. And hopefully we do not pull a DOD like Hype and I think someone else pulled. But we'll get a Kakuna instead. Nice. Haven't really played that much, you guys. I don't really find grinding League that fun. I want to play a gym. I want to break from League or Queen's Cup. I want to get Aegislash, so that's why I haven't really been playing. But tomorrow we are going to be streaming. I will be streaming later tonight, but it's not going to be Pokemon Duel. I know Rob is doing his 24-hour stream eating a bunch of eggs. So if you guys haven't checked it out, you should check it out. He's definitely still live right now. Durant. Okay. But I'm going to be streaming some Resident Evil later tonight. But then tomorrow, we will be streaming Pokemon Duel in the morning, probably 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. All right, let's jump into these 2 matches. Okay, so this first match comes from a good friend of mine, somebody who's helped me with my layouts, the one and only Integral. I didn't even know Integral still played because he's kind of been MIA. But what we talked about earlier was he's got the Steelix, he's got the Mega Steelix. And Mega Steelix, I talked about it being offensively. I mean, we could talk about goalies for a minute. Like, who's the #1 goalie right now? Vibrava. Who's next? Probably the Primal Kyogre, just because with the incline of Ultra Beast. And then probably Dawnwings and even Lucario. Well, before these two, it would definitely be the Mega Steelix, because Mega Steelix cannot be surrounded. watch the way that Integral plays with his Steelix or Mega Steelix. He does have the Victini. I don't know. Honestly, I think a Marshadow with this deck would be a lot better because I don't think you should be running Victinis unless you have multiple Victinis. But I don't know. Or the Celebi. The Celebi would be really good too. I don't know why he doesn't have the Celebi. Maybe he didn't buy the Player's Pass when it first came out. So, but I would definitely recommend the Celebi if he had it, or the Marshadow, especially with this deck because of the Dawn Wings. But it looks like he's going to pull the Evolution here. Then he's going to block off with the Arceus. And now he gets basically a free attack into Marshadow. So I like this attack here. Goes in for the Marshadow and gets the return, which is clutch. Let's talk about return for a second, which is clutch because look at his Z gauge. That is so good. I was so happy with return because of what it does. Because return increases your Z gauge by half its max value. Because what return did in the main series, depending on how much that Pokemon liked the trainer, would dictate how much damage return did. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it did. It would be kind of interesting that, like, what if the return was based off your win-loss rate? So if you had a really good win-loss rate, boom, your Z gauge would go up. But if it was like really bad, it wouldn't. It would just be normal. That would be kind of interesting. That would kind of make people want to, if they use Arceus, to grind to make the return as good as possible. I don't know. I think it'd be something interesting, but probably too complex. But so what happens here is Integral sees an opening here. The Steelix is 1 MP, so he's going to use the Mega to Mega Evolve, give it 2 MP, and then move up, and then the opponent is going to block off this thing. But remember, it does not get surrounded, so he can move right through there without worrying about getting attacked or surrounded. I think he attacked. No, yeah, he does attack. No, the opponent attacked. Basically stumped the opponent. So there's some cheese right there with the Mega Steelix, so just please beware. If you do see an opponent running the Mega Steelix and they're offensive with it, you need to take that thing out because it can move through you because of its ability. It's got 2 MP and it can't be surrounded. All right, let's jump into this next match. All right, so this match came, I think it was last night. I only played one match last night. This was actually the match. Matches are kind of scary right now because everybody is really good. 3-9 or higher, 3-7. But we're playing Chi, and Chi has a pretty purple heavy deck here. I mean, we are both rocking the Arceus and the Celebi. And the good thing is, my deck, I have 3 counters to these purple mons. I mean, we do have the Mawile, we do have the... actually, we have 4. We have the Ultra, Arceus, and the Lucario. All right, now, but before we jump into the match, I wanted to talk about Max Revive. When should you use Max Revive? I mean, obviously, it's very situational. If they're about to win the game, if you're about to lose, and you have a Max Revive, I mean, obviously, you want to Max Revive to maximize your chances at getting rid of whatever mon is threatening the game. Okay, but other than that, I think the best value for Max Revive is if you have 2 mons in your PC and one of them gets KO'd, that one goes to the bench, and then you can Max Revive and have 2 mons readily on the bench opposed to 1. Now, there's a lot of times where people will get knocked out and they'll Max Revive right away out of frustration, or because maybe it's like their best mon. And like I said, that's kind of situational if they're applying an immense amount of pressure. But for me, I think you need to be patient on the plates. Like, I've watched Craney play, and Craney always has his plates available. Me, I run out of plates like all the time. But I think just being patient and waiting for 1 mon to get out of the PC onto the bench, and then using it, and then you have 2 mons readily available. So, who went first? I went first? Yeah, I go first. We're going to play the Grass Sphere on the Celebi, so we can take this thing out. And we can freely attack into the Dawn Wings. And we're both kind of just feeling each other out. We do not want to we don't want to give each other the matchup. So we're going to, like I said, just be defensive. And he's playing the Twisted Spoon. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm not even prepared to deal with the Twisted Spoon. I hate this thing. I hate this figure. And they're kind of ahead. They're kind of ahead because they have more plates to burn. So what I decided to do here, I was like, all right, we're going to move up Lucario because Lucario handles these 3 mons well. He handles these 3 mons well, and I'm trying to get rid of this Kadabra. So what is he going to do? Obviously, he's going to play the Lunala, the Dawn Wings, or the Arceus. And like I said, Lucario can handle these things well. Now, I don't know why they put Lunala here. Lunala does not have a good matchup against Mega Lucario. Like, I have Mega Lucario. I think the better play would have put the Dawn Wings, but he doesn't play the Dawn Wings, so we're going to take this opportunity. We are definitely going to Mega Lucario here, and we're going to go straight after the Lunala. And hopefully we land, well, you guys know, we want to land the gold into purple because that's the majority of his will. But now they're going to be offensive here with the Celebi, and I'm like, okay, this is actually good. We're going to DC here. We're going to attack you. We're going to get rid of your Grass Sphere right away. And it lands the Grass Slide. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Mine's level 9. Everything's into the Aura Sphere. Let's go, GG boys. Did you really think I was going to win that roll? No, of course I'm not going to win that roll. And there goes my Mega Lucario, and I'm pretty salty. So next we're going, or they're going to take that entry point, and then we're going to challenge. I don't know. I think I would have, in my opinion, I would have taken this entry point. I mean, you do have the Grass Sphere. Dawn Wings can't do anything to you. I mean, yes, I still have the long throw, but because you move to this side, you give me the free matchup against the Lunala. Like, I know you have the burst, but if you put it on this side, you can free. Well, I guess you would only have. Well, you have these two on the bench, and I guess. Well, I guess these two are pretty good. But it would force me to have to put something on this side, and then you could have set up the matchup. So you put Selly here, I would have had to bring on either the Mawile or the Arceus, and you could have set the matchup. If I brought on Mawile, you could have put on Arceus. If I brought up Arceus, you could have put up Dawn. So, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that play, but we are going to set the matchup. We're going to put the Mawile there, and then they bring the set. Because of that, what they did, they allowed me to dictate the matchups now. Now this is a good counter. This is a good counter because we do have the Grass Sphere. So misplay on my opponent's end right there for taking this entry point opposed to this entry point. So now we can just really attack this Lunala. My Mawile is level 5. We basically wall this thing. Like, we're not afraid of this thing whatsoever. So we're going to attack again. Hopefully we get to the Trickery, and we do, and they get it into the Moongeist Beam. So of course we're going to take the roll there. Sucker Punch, see you later. And take a look at our Z-Gauge. Our Z-Gauge is up. And my opponent makes kind of a... I don't know how I feel about this play. Attacks here. You can't take me out with the Moongeist Beam. He gets the Moongeist Beam, but he can get rid of my Celebi, which he does. But look at my Z-Gauge. My Z-Gauge is up, and we're going to go for that double kill. Hopefully this thing does not hit the Judgment. And silly me, Judgment wouldn't have done anything because of my ability. It doesn't. It hits the return. The Z-Gauge is... I think it was already up. But we do get rid of this threat, and we get to pull the Surround on the Dawn Wings, and we don't even have to deal with the Dawn Wings. Ah, that play felt so good. I was so excited for that play. But they're going to attack here, and they do get the Grass Knot. We do hit the Judgment, but it does have the Grass Sphere, so it's not going to be sent to the PC. Feels bad. And now he takes the right entry point. He has a good matchup because we already lost our Mega. And then we have to deal with this annoying thing that can attack from 2 steps away. Looks like I'm going to burst. Yeah, I'm going to burst here because I don't want this thing on the board anymore. I don't want this thing attacking me from range. So we're going to attack into the Kadabra. And we get the reflective move. We're not running an Ultra Beast, so we can't move. He moves up, attacks into my Lucario. Lucario loses the roll. And now we're in a kind of a bad predicament. But that's what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to use the Max Revive a lot earlier. Like, I think right when my... What's his name? Arceus died. But I was patient. I was like, okay, we're not going to use the Max Revive. But once my opponent knocked out one of my Mons, when I had 2 Mons in the PC, that's when I used the Max Revive. I still have the long throw. Had we survived there, we could have long thrown and got rid of the Lunala. Unfortunately for us, that wasn't the case because their Z-Gauge was up and they got rid of our Necrozma. But we still have the long throw. So if I would have Max Revived earlier, we would not be in this predicament. We would still be down 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over because this thing is annoying. And I don't want to get... Well, this thing's annoying. You kind of really got me. But now we're going to do the long throw. They don't have a scoop up, so I can pull on this side. And we're going to look at my Z-Gauge. My Z-Gauge is coming up. I want to move right here, and then I want to Z-move with... I want to do the Fairy Z-move. But he attacks here. He gets the Teleport. Beam feels bad, man. So he gets to confuse me. I don't have an ability. And for some reason, he chooses not to evolve. I'm like, okay. We're still going to try to get here. And he makes a mistake by attacking again. I'm like, bro, this is a threat here. I'm trying to surround you and win. So all we gotta do is survive 1 more roll. I'm like, come on, Celebi, let's go. And unfortunately, he gets a Teleport Beam again. gets to move me. I can't move through him because I'm statused. And now he's going to pull the evolution here, and I'm like, okay, this is bad. But what I'm going to do is we're going to Z-move. We're going to fairy Z-move. We're going to get rid of this thing, and now he's forced to goal block. And if he goal blocks with anything on my entry points, the Alakazam dies. So, and either way, we were in a very good predicament here, because let's just talk about it real quick. Like I said, if any of these things goal block, Alakazam dies. So it makes most sense for him to bring on the Alakazam, which then we can freely take the entry point. And that's exactly what we do, but my opponent still has the long throw. But another thing that's really good is we have this Mawile. Mawile has Trickery at 37. That's basically a 37 will piece slice of gold. What's on the goal right now? Alakazam. Now I do have the Mega Mawile. The problem is my Mega Mawile is still level 1, and the Trickery into the Trickery into the gold would be the 24. Yeah, it'd be the 24. Even if this thing was level, well, so if it was level 10, what would it be? 29, 34, 34, 36. It would still be less than what the Mawile is, I believe. So that's why I choose not to Mega Evolve here, and we're just going to attack here, and hopefully we get the Trickery, and we do, into their Steel Bind, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be GG boys, because there's nothing really this Lele can do to me, because the Lele is not chained. If this Lele was chained, we could hit our one. Well, I guess we could hit that, but we do get the play rough, man. Like I said, if that thing was chained, that I would have been salty and things would have been bad, but it is not. And like I stated earlier, GG boys to my opponent. She got the better. All right, so let me know in the comments below, guys, how you feel about the figures that we made. And tomorrow, I promise, we're going to be streaming some Pokemon Duel, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Be there. Till then, ladies and gentlemen, as always, peace.